Hello, I'm Jessica Amir for the Finance News Network. Today with MMJ Group Holdings CFO Jim Hallam. Hi Jim and welcome to the network.
Thanks very much for having me, Jessica.
So first up, Jim, for those who are unfamiliar with MMJ, just give us a quick introduction.
MMJ is a listed investment company. We invest in cannabis worldwide, primarily Canada and to a lesser extent Australia. We've got 16,000 investors. Last 12 months we've generated a return of about 37%.
And Jim, we've seen a lot of hype in cannabis stocks over the last couple of years, really because of the legalisation of recreational and medicinal cannabis. So how big is the market?
Market's huge. Canada's is estimated to have $20 billion worth of turnover per annum. Its largest 25 listed companies have got a market cap in excess of $50 billion. So in terms of Australia, it's the biggest investment opportunity in the world. The main growth is going to come from recreational, but we've got a future kick, and that is when food and beverage infused cannabis becomes legal in Canada in October this year.
Great. And now to the fund, Jim. Just tell us about the composition.
The fund's got about 11 assets. Biggest investment we've got is in Harvest One. We're its biggest shareholder. We've got 26%. It provides fantastic leverage for the future. The other two main investments we've got are WeedMe, which is an unlisted grower of cannabis, and MediFarm Labs, which is an extraction business, which is listed in Canada. And our other big asset is $24 million worth of cash that we're going to reinvest during the next 12 to 18 months.
Thanks, Jim. Now, can you tell us about the portfolio management?
We're an active manager. We're offered the opportunity for investors to invest in a venture capital private equity style. We've got about 11 investments in our portfolio. To date, we've invested in 15. 4 of those investments have gone to the public markets. We've sold a couple of investments. Our most notable sale has been MediFarm Labs. It's a terrific example of how our investment style, where we invest on an unlisted basis, that company then lists. We've had some additional warrants or options which provide leverage for the investment, and we made 6 times our capital. That is a great example for any retail investor wanting to know the value add that we have and the fact that we're the only listed cannabis investor in Australia.
Now that flows to my next question about performance. Jim, what can you tell us?
The investment performance has been terrific. In the 4 years that MMJ has been operating, the net asset value has increased from 20% a share to 40 cents a share. The last 12 months it's increased by 37%. Unfortunately, the share price has not reflected that investment performance. The share price is 22 cents versus net asset value of 40 cents. So there's a fantastic opportunity there for investors, existing investors, of which we've got 16,000, and new investors to come on board and take advantage of that deep discount. Investors may be thinking that what's the problem here? Why the variance? It's more about the fact that the business has had to restructure itself in the last 12 months. Shares have been suspended for a couple of periods due to the process of moving into a listed investment company. In addition to that, in December last year, the company announced that it would be raising equity. Since the cannabis investment market in Canada has materially increased in that time, the board has decided not to raise any equity at this time. And therefore, we're hoping that the uncertainty that may have been there and perceived by investors will in fact be removed, and that investors will start to see the value that the shares hold vis-a-vis the net asset value of the fund.
A more general question now, Jim. How can active managers such as MMJ really add value?
Well, we add value because we're primarily focused on the unlisted market. We source opportunities which the retail investor and frankly the institutional investor cannot source in their own right. We seek out the unlisted investments. We often get warrants or options to invest further in and take advantage of upside. We then participate in the initial public offering, and then we're quite pragmatic in terms of selling. During the last 3 months, the board's realised that it had to increase its presence in Canada and decided to appoint a Canadian-based investment management firm. That firm being Embark Ventures will substantially add to our active manager capability, our asset sourcing, and in particular, we will have the benefit of their deep network of contacts within the cannabis industry. Embark itself is made up of professionals who've been successful investors in the cannabis business.
And Jim, can you just clarify the relationship that you have with Embark?
It doesn't add any material fixed cost to the business, and the majority of Embark's remuneration will be directly tied to the increase in the value of the portfolio, as well as the increase in the value of our shares. We're looking forward to completing that arrangement during the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Jim Hallam, thank you so much for your time and thanks for the update.
Thanks very much, Jessica, for having me.